Hi, my name is Elsie. I'm 27 years old and I am currently attending graduate school online through Boise State University to earn my master's degree in genetic counseling. And I've been asked to just share a little bit about why I'm becoming a genetic counselor. When I was in ninth grade, I was on a school field trip to an amusement park in Tennessee when I threw up blood all over my friend. I went to the ER where I fell asleep. I woke up 3 days later from my coma in a different hospital in my hometown in Virginia. I had a rare disease affecting my bile ducts, and I was getting worse every day. I needed a liver transplant soon. However, the organ donation waiting list is really long. This was 12 years ago, so I can tell you that it's an even longer wait today. The months passed, and it was looking less and less likely that I'd get a transplant before I died. So, the transplant team in Pittsburgh did something that was experimental at the time. At the top of the transplant waiting list was a young woman with a genetic disorder called maple syrup urine disease, so named because people with the disease have sweet smelling pee. It's a metabolic disease where your body can't process any proteins, including the proteins that all bodies naturally make. It's a scary disease. A liver transplant can cure the disease by placing a large enough organ in the body to do all the protein processing that the other cells can't do. However, there's nothing actually wrong with the liver other than it can't process proteins. The doctors told me, "We're going to try giving this liver to you. It's going to get discarded anyways, so why not at least try to save your life?" Their thinking was that my other organs should be able to pick up the slack and process proteins. And they did. The surgery saved my life, and I didn't develop any protein processing problems. This type of donation is still rare, but it's more common nowadays now that they know it works, and it's called a domino liver transplant. I had the unique opportunity to be recovering in the hospital in the same ward as my quote unquote anonymous liver donor, Rachel, who you can see in the very left of the first photo. It didn't take long for our parents to figure out our connection to one another, and we became friends right away. At this point, I was in 10th grade, and I was starting to learn about genetics in my biology class. Just from spending time with Rachel, I learned about her genetic disorder and the specialty clinic she received care from as she was growing up. The Clinic for Special Children, which is the picture on the right, serves people in the Amish and Mennonite communities who have these types of rare genetic disorders. I knew I wanted to do the type of work that this clinic was doing and be involved in the care of people with genetic conditions. And just real quick, I wanted to share that Rachel has gone on to have 4 children since our transplant, and she named the first one Lindsay after me. So this is a picture of me with Rachel and my namesake Lindsay. So I knew I wanted to do something in genetics, but I still had a bunch of options, right? I could have gone to med school. I could be a doctor. I could work in a genetic testing laboratory. I could do something like be a caregiver to families who need some extra help. I wanted to work directly with patients, so that ruled out the laboratory. I also knew firsthand just how scary it is to get a major medical diagnosis, and I wanted to provide emotional support for other people who are going through scary times medically. That's how I settled on becoming a genetic counselor. Genetic counselors, or GCs, are at the intersection of scientific knowledge and mental health support. We get trained by medical geneticists, who are doctors, and social workers alike. Some of the main things I get to do as a GC is help families get diagnosed by studying their family tree and ordering appropriate genetic testing for them. I get to educate patients about their genetic conditions and provide some counseling when these genetic disorders feel overwhelming. I also get to work with other healthcare providers and advocate on behalf of my patients. If they're not getting the right type of care, I get to speak up and fight for them within the medical system, which feels really rewarding. This slide is just to show you that, like many medical professionals, GCs can go into any specialty that they want. After I graduate, I'll be working in an oncology clinic doing cancer genetics. I'll get to help people assess their risk for cancer based on cancers seen in their relatives. By doing this, we can get them earlier cancer screening, and if they ever do develop cancer, we'll catch it much quicker, which often saves lives. I'm so excited to be helping the cancer community. Thanks for letting me share the long-winded story of how I ended up in genetic counseling. You do not need a wild backstory like mine to become a GC. So if this job sounds interesting to you, I recommend you read more about it and consider if it's right for you. And I'm putting my email here in case you have any questions about genetic counseling, about genetics in general, or even if you want to learn more about organ donation. Thank you so much.